January 2nd, 2026, Russian Western Grouping of Forces commander Colonel General Sergei Kuzovlev threw armor at Kupyansk like Soviet commanders at Kursk in 1943, committing elements of the 347th and 272nd Motorized Rifle Regiments, 47th Tank Division, deploying 1st Guards Tank Army drone operators and launching 16 separate Ukrainian counterattacks in a single day, attempting to break into the city. According to Russia's own defense ministry, Russian forces repelled 16 AFU attacks on January 2nd alone, neutralizing 180 militants and 30 units of military hardware, including 3 tanks, 19 armored fighting vehicles, and 102 motor vehicles. But by January 13th, Ukrainian commanders reported something Putin didn't expect. Russian forces were suffering significant manpower and armored vehicle losses due to bad weather conditions, snow revealing movement, frozen ground preventing evasion, and Ukrainian drones destroying mechanized columns that should have dominated the battlefield. Russia turned Kupyansk into a tank battlefield, betting mechanized superiority would overwhelm Ukrainian defenses. Instead, Ukrainian forces cut Russian logistics, forcing resupply by drones, contained Russian armor to the left bank of the Oskil River, and destroyed enough vehicles that Russian mill bloggers openly contradicted command claims, stating Russian forces haven't controlled Kupyansk for a single day, despite official victory announcements. Putin gambled on armor. Ukraine surprised him with winter drone warfare that made tanks into frozen coffins. If you want to see how Ukrainian winter tactics are destroying Russian armor despite massive numerical disadvantages, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. This is asymmetric warfare in sub-zero conditions. Russia's Kupyansk offensive represented significant armor commitment. According to ISW Order of Battle documentation, Russian forces deployed 347th Motorized Rifle Regiment, 47th Tank Division, 1st Guards Tank Army. Frontline assault units conducting mechanized attacks. 272nd Motorized Rifle Regiment, 47th Tank Division, supporting assault operations from multiple directions. 1st Guards Tank Army drone operators, coordinating strikes on Ukrainian positions, Moscow Military District. 68th Motorized Rifle Division, FPV drone operators, 6th Combined Arms Army, Leningrad Military District. 375th Separate Anti-Tank Artillery Battalion, Kontora Detachment, striking Ukrainian unmanned ground vehicles. The force structure reveals intent. Russia committed Premier Guards Tank Army units, the formations that defended Moscow during World War II, to what command believed would be a decisive armor breakthrough. According to Russian military doctrine, Guards units receive priority equipment, training, and replacements. Deploying them to Kupyansk signaled Moscow's determination to seize the city through mechanized warfare. But committing armor created vulnerabilities. According to a Ukrainian regimental commander operating in the Kupyansk direction, Russian forces are suffering significant manpower and armored vehicle losses due to bad weather conditions, exactly the opposite of what mechanized operations should achieve. Tanks and armored vehicles exist to protect infantry from small arms while providing mobile firepower. In Ukrainian winter conditions with persistent drone coverage, they became targets. January 2026's weather conditions created a tactical nightmare for Russian armor. According to multiple Ukrainian commanders and Russian mill bloggers, bad weather conditions intensified drone operations while degrading mechanized mobility. The specific effects: snow reveals movement. According to a Ukrainian service member operating near Kupyansk, Russian forces using white camouflage trying to blend in and seeking warmth and shelter gave away positions. Washington Post battlefield reporting documented how one plume of smoke from a Russian soldier trying to stay warm revealed his position. Ukrainian drone operators killed him and his entire crew. Every track in snow, every exhaust plume, every thermal signature from engines warming crews became targeting data. Frozen ground prevents evasion. Unlike spring mud, rasputitsa, that immobilizes heavy vehicles, winter frozen ground should enable mobility. But frozen terrain also prevents rapid digging of defensive positions, forces vehicles onto predictable routes, roads and packed paths that won't damage tracks, and eliminates concealment through vegetation. According to Ukrainian brigade spokespeople, lack of foliage makes it more easily able to detect Russian small groups trying to infiltrate, and the same applies to armored vehicles lacking natural cover. Weather enables drone operations. According to a Russian mill blogger's January 4th assessment, weather conditions are allowing both Russian and Ukrainian forces to intensify drone operations, contradicting the assumption that winter weather grounds drones. Modern FPV drones operate in temperatures well below freezing. What weather actually does: reduce battery life slightly while massively increasing target visibility through snow tracks and thermal contrast against cold backgrounds. The weather irony: Russia committed armor expecting mechanized advantages. Weather conditions negated mobility while enhancing Ukrainian drone effectiveness, creating exact opposite of intended tactical outcome. Ukrainian December counterattacks transformed Russian armor from offensive asset to logistical liability. According to the January 13th Ukrainian commander report, Ukrainian forces achieved 3 critical effects. Cut logistics, forcing drone resupply. Ukrainian forces are blocking Russian efforts to advance from the northern outskirts of Kupyansk and have cut off logistics for Russian forces in Kupyansk, forcing Russian troops to conduct resupply missions with drones. This represents operational catastrophe. Armored vehicles require fuel, ammunition, spare parts, supplies drones cannot deliver in sufficient quantity. According to the commander, Russian forces can only receive small packages dropped by quadcopters. Starving tanks of fuel creates expensive stationary targets. Contained to left bank. Ukrainian forces contained Russian forces to the left bank of the Oskil River near Holubivka, thereby limiting Russian infiltration attempts to the right, west bank of Kupyansk. The Oskil River runs north-south, dividing the city. Russian armor stuck on the east bank cannot support operations on the west bank, cannot provide covering fire, cannot extract trapped infantry, cannot reinforce positions under attack. Geographic barrier plus Ukrainian fire control equals tactical paralysis. Blocked northern advances. Ukrainian forces are blocking Russian efforts to advance from the northern outskirts, meaning Russian armor cannot maneuver around Ukrainian positions to exploit flanks or rear areas. Fixed to specific axes of advance, Russian tanks become predictable targets for Ukrainian anti-tank systems and drones. According to Joint Forces spokesperson Colonel Viktor Trehubov's January 10th statement, Ukrainian forces hold positions north of Kupyansk and east of Kupyansk across the Oskil River, preventing Russian forces from crossing, meaning Ukrainian forces control both riverbanks and all crossing points. Russian armor can see the objective, western Kupyansk, but cannot reach it without exposing vehicles to Ukrainian fire at choke points. The Ukrainian commander's January 13th report used specific phrasing: significant manpower and armored vehicle losses due to bad weather conditions. Not just manpower, not just tactical setbacks, armored vehicle losses, the expensive mechanized platforms Russia committed expecting advantage. Russian Ministry of Defense statistics, even inflated for propaganda, reveal the scale. According to global security documentation of Russian MOD claims for just January 1st to 2nd. January 1st, 210 troops, 1 tank, 1 US-made Max Pro armored fighting vehicle, 16 motor vehicles destroyed in Zapad Group area, includes Kupyansk. January 2nd, 1,390 troops, 3 tanks, 19 armored fighting vehicles, 102 motor vehicles destroyed. These are Russian claims of Ukrainian losses, typically inflated. But even propaganda reveals operational intensity. 3 tanks destroyed in a single day in one sector. According to Oryx's visual documentation methodology, confirmed losses are typically 30 to 50% of claimed kills. Even at 50% accuracy, Russia's own statistics suggest 1 to 2 tanks destroyed daily in the Kupyansk sector alone. But Ukrainian operations revealed something more devastating than occasional tank kills: systematic armor destruction. According to the Kartia Brigade's January 12th video showing the Ukrainian flag raised over Kupyansk City Council, intense street fighting occurred, meaning Russian armor failed to prevent Ukrainian special forces from penetrating to the city's administrative center, conducting propaganda operations, and withdrawing safely. If Russian armor controlled Kupyansk as claimed, Ukrainian forces couldn't operate freely enough to film videos inside contested buildings. Ukraine introduced tactical innovation Russia couldn't counter: unmanned ground vehicles coordinating with aerial drones against Russian armor. According to ISW January 6th reporting, Russian Kontura detachment of the 375th Separate Anti-Tank Artillery Battalion was specifically tasked with striking Ukrainian unmanned ground vehicles, UGVs, in eastern Kurilivka, meaning Ukrainian forces deployed ground robots in sufficient numbers that Russia created specialized anti-UGV units. The tactical implications: Ukrainian UGVs draw Russian fire, reveal Russian positions to aerial drones, and survive attacks that would kill crewed vehicles. According to CSIS research documenting Ukraine's December 2024 Lipsy operation, world's first fully unmanned ground combat operation, UGVs equipped with machine guns and munitions performed mine clearance and direct fire, while FPV drones supported from above. By January 2026, this combination reached Kupyansk, forcing Russia to dedicate anti-tank artillery to hunting robots instead of Ukrainian armor. The cost asymmetry favors Ukraine dramatically. According to military.com reporting, Ukrainian FPV drones cost approximately $400 each, while destroying $8 to $10 million tanks. UGVs cost more, but remain cheaper than crewed armored vehicles and preserve Ukrainian soldiers' lives. Every Russian tank dedicated to hunting Ukrainian UGVs cannot engage actual Ukrainian armor, creating targeting dilemmas where Russian crews must choose between robots and real threats. Russia turned Kupyansk into a tank battlefield, expecting mechanized superiority would crush Ukrainian resistance. Putin committed 47th Tank Division elements, 1st Guards Tank Army assets, premier formations designed for breakthrough warfare. What Russia got? Armor trapped on wrong riverbank, logistics cut to drone-only resupply, significant vehicle losses in bad weather conditions, and Ukrainian forces raising flags over City Hall, while Russian mill bloggers admit command claims are false. Ukraine surprised Putin by transforming winter weather from mobility constraint into targeting advantage, snow revealing tracks, frozen ground preventing evasion, thermal signatures guiding FPV drones to warming crews. Ukrainian forces cut logistics, contained armor to specific banks, deployed UGVs forcing Russian anti-tank units to hunt robots, and maintained positions despite 16 counterattacks in a single day. Russia's armor commitment failed. Ukrainian tactical innovation succeeded. And Kupyansk demonstrates why modern mechanized warfare requires more than tanks. It requires logistics, maneuver room, combined arms coordination, and environmental conditions favoring mobility over firepower. Russia had firepower. Ukraine had drones, winter, and tactical genius that made Russian armor into frozen targets. Do you think Russian armor can recover from these winter losses? Share thoughts. Subscribe for armor warfare analysis. Thanks for watching.